It's a big road trip for the Lakers. It's a really, really big road trip for the Lakers. Just to give everyone, an idea, this is who they've got coming up. So this is the 4-game road trip that the Lakers got coming up. 8 of their final 12 games are on the road. So that ain't easy. That's why the Lakers have I looked this morning. It's the 5th toughest schedule on the road. So that's what the Lakers got coming up. They got the 5th toughest schedule coming up the rest of the way. 8 of their final 12 games are on the road. Obviously, by the time this week is done, then that balance will be there: 4 at home, 4 on the road, and then the Lakers, can get ready for the playoffs wherever they end up. Yeah, they'll play. They'll come home, a couple of games. They'll get 3 games in a row at home, and then 4 of their last 5 games will be on the road. Here's what they got on this road trip: Orlando, Indiana, Chicago, and Memphis. All these teams got something to play for. I know you say, okay, what are you talking about, Al? Orlando's in a playing spot, so they got something to play for. Chicago's in a playing spot and just handed it to the Lakers, so that should be an interesting game later in the week. Wednesday, they got the Pacers. Indiana's they're a nice team. I mean, I'm not telling you that Indiana's going to beat Cleveland or Boston, but they can beat Milwaukee. They could beat New York. I don't think they would beat New York in a 7-game set if Jalen Brunson is there, but they're in the number 4 spot in the Eastern Conference, and they're not in a terrible position. They're fighting, and then you close out the week on Saturday at Memphis, and we know their situation in Memphis. They're still trying to compete anywhere from 2 to 5 or something along those lines. We'll see where Ja Morant is by that stretch, but I know he hadn't played in a couple of games. Maybe he's back by now. With all that being said, it's a tough road trip. Now, I think the road trip's going to also help define a little bit what we think we know about this team, or maybe they just peaked too early and now teams have had a lot of time to adjust to it, and we'll have to find out what this team is moving forward. So let me give you kind of an idea about this. If I ask people out there, if I just ask a simple question, do you think you know what the squad is? Because if I said right now, let me give everyone an idea of what I think this Lakers team is. Here's how I would describe the Lakers. Here's what I think I already know about the Lakers, but I think this road trip's going to help give a little bit clearer of a picture if that solidifies what I think this Lakers team is, or if no, you know what? There's some things that are a little bit different than I thought. So let me tell you what I mean here. Okay. Here's what I know about the Lakers. I know almost every single game they're going to play tough. Nothing is really handed to them. They go out there and they earn it. I get it. 2-game losing streak. They looked bad against Chicago. Why'd they sit their players against Milwaukee? I'm not going to let 2 games signal what I think is a 30-game sample size with the Lakers that I've seen over this last couple of months, that I feel like that's their DNA and that's who they are. Or maybe, yeah, I'd call it 2 months or so. Really specifically since Vando got back, they kind of started this identity of who they are, okay? They play tough. Nothing is handed to them. They lock down on defense. I'm going to say this again. I got a chance. This was when the Lakers were playing Denver on Wednesday. Was at the arena, got a chance to ask Michael Malone about this kind of new version of the Lakers, what they look like. And the thing that stood out to me is the first thing he said is they play D. How they play defense. Is it non-traditional? Sure, because it's a smaller lineup, but that's what he wanted to key in on, is that squad plays defense. Remember that game? Lakers were up in Denver and Jokic only took 7 shots. He was 2 of 7 from the field. When the hell have you ever seen that? They almost beat Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets in the other game that the Lakers had where nobody played as well, and they almost pulled that one off. I know they got a good coach. Is he not proven in the playoffs? Sure, that's fine. I guess that's going to be another learning experience for J.J. Redick. But so far this year, there's been nothing that J.J. Redick has indicated to me that the guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's not going to be prepared, and the moment's going to be too big for him. I haven't seen that yet from J.J. Redick. We'll see what happens once the playoffs come. They got 2 legitimate superstars, and they got a really, really good player in Austin Reeves as the third head of the snake, if you want to call it that. I don't even know if that's even a term. That's what I know about the Lakers. And I feel like this road trip is either going to assert that even more, or it's going to bring up questions that we didn't know we had about this Lakers team, or it's going to start to kind of chip away at this squad, maybe peaked a little bit too early. That's what I think this 4-game road trip is going to tell us. Because if they come out tonight, which I wouldn't be surprised at all if they came out tonight against Orlando and was like, let's go to work. It doesn't have to be a pretty game. You don't have to win by 25. You win by 5 points at Orlando, you take the win and you move on. Indiana and Chicago, what's that back-to-back going to look like? You got that Memphis Grizzlies game waiting for you on Saturday night. I think we'll find out a lot about this team. Again, I think it's such a key road trip. And if you still want a shot at the number 2 seed, I think you got to have a 3-1 week, something along those lines. Now, here's the good news for the Lakers. I did mention they got the 5th toughest schedule in the NBA, but the good news for the Lakers is as they sit here in the number 4 spot, they still have matchups against teams in front of them. Houston's got the number 2 seed. They still got 2 more games against them. They get Memphis this upcoming weekend. It's another way to either put a little bit of cushion on where Memphis is and solidify Lakers as one of those number 4 teams, or you're right back in the mix with everybody by the time this week is over. And maybe there isn't a guarantee that you have a better record than the Warriors or Memphis or some of these other teams in front of you. So that's why I think we got a lot that we still get to learn about the Lakers this week, and I'm excited about it. I'm expecting the version of the Lakers that I talked about earlier. They play tough, nothing is handed to them. They lock down on the defensive side. They got, a coach that will make the proper adjustments, and that's not going to be too stubborn and not too egotistical. They got 2 superstars that understand when to turn the gas on, when to distribute, when to go drop 35, when to have 15 assists. They got an Austin Reeves that can do what he does, but there's a lot to be figured out this week. And I think it's going to be a fun week to watch the Lakers play. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the comments here as we continue to go. All right, let's see what we got here. It was similar to the last Spurs loss. We got blown out by 20, I think. For these below 500 teams like Charlotte and the Nets, we haven't been taking them serious and losing. Dave, it's a good point. Let me actually tell you, because I think I could tell you all the losses the Lakers have had against teams. I think most of them below 500 over the course of the last couple of months, okay? The San Antonio Spurs game you're talking about was the first game after the fires. Lakers postponed the Charlotte game. They postponed the Spurs game, but they had back-to-back against the Spurs, and then they played the Spurs. That's the one, you're right, they lost by 20. They had a loss also against Utah before the break. They lost against Charlotte coming out of the break at home. They lost to Brooklyn on the road. They lost to, obviously, the Chicago Bulls. So that's a handful of losses against teams below 500. And maybe there is something about that. They didn't take them seriously. And then they got it handed to them. Let's get another one here. Luka not getting other players involved in offense at the start of the game. He takes most of his shots first quarter. Team is at a sink in second quarter. Yeah, Luka had another half where I think he dropped 29. I don't think Luka – let me tell you what I think Luka's doing in some of these games. I think for Luka, there's a little bit of – there's such an emphasis on the other team on the defensive side of how they're going to play Luka, right? Everything comes down to how are they going to play Luka. And for me, the way I kind of watch this, and I think Luka's just kind of trying to, what is the defense giving me? If they're not throwing a double team at me and I got some guy in front of me that I know I could drop 25 on in the first half, then I'm going to drop 25. Maybe that is taking some of the guys out of sync. I would tell you this: if I'm a defense from an opposing team, I'd rather have Luka drop 35 or 40 than have 25, but he had 15 assists as well. It's the same thing I would tell you about Nikola Jokic. It's the same thing I would tell you about LeBron. I'd rather these guys drop 35 or 40 than 27, but they had 14 assists and everybody else is involved. Everybody else is eating. Everybody else now feels like they're involved in the game and they're playing better defense and whatever the case is. You kind of go down the list. So I think for some of these opponents and for some of these teams, I do feel like there's a little bit of a strategy that he buys into the strategy in the sense of, this is what they're giving me. This is what I got to take. Who cares about a home record? Championship teams win on the road. Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Let's play this one out. So, do you want on the road in the first round against? I'm gonna put these out there, and you tell me what you think. Do you want on the road in the first round against, let's say, Memphis? I'm just using, let's say these two flip, the 4-5 flip. And then on the road against OKC after that, and then on the road against Denver after that, just to get to the NBA Finals and be on the road against Boston or Cleveland. You're right. Championship teams do win on the road. I get that. But do you really want to do it for 4 rounds? I mean, if you were able to get that number 2 seed, we'll see what happens. Maybe Lakers got no shot at the number 2 seed in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Maybe they're right in the mix after they play Houston and everything else. Or would you rather, have a road where you still had to win on the road to go win an NBA championship, but not every single round is on the road. Not every single game 7 would be on the road. Do I think playing on the road for LeBron and Luka is that big of a deal? Probably not. LeBron's done it his whole career. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.